Ladies, let me tell you something. If a man can go 3 days without hearing from you and feel nothing, I need you to hear me clearly. That is not him being busy. That is not him needing space. That is a man who has never been given a reason to miss you. And today, I'm going to hand you that reason. 3 words. That's all it takes. 3 little words that slip past every wall a man has ever built, land right in the center of his chest, and start playing on a loop in his mind at 2 a.m. Not I love you. Baby, men hear I love you all the time, and it slides right off them like rain off a windshield. Not I miss you. Not I want you. It's something almost no woman says, because nobody ever taught her what a man is actually starving for. And once you say these 3 words the right way, at the right moment, something shifts in him that he cannot control, cannot explain, and cannot shut off. Now sit down, pour your coffee, because I'm going to break this down for you the way nobody in your life has ever broken it down. And by the time we're done, you're going to understand men better than most men understand themselves. But before I give you the words, I need you to understand why they work. Because words without understanding are just noise. And sister, you have made enough noise for men who weren't listening. It's time to speak in a language his soul actually hears. See, here's what most women believe, and I don't blame you for believing it, because the whole world taught you this. You believe a man stays for beauty. You believe a man stays for what happens in the bedroom. You believe a man stays because you cook, because you're loyal, because you're convenient, because you don't ask for too much. And I'm not saying those things don't matter. I'm saying they are not the hook. They are not the thing that makes a man lie awake at night, replaying a conversation. They are not the thing that makes him check his phone, put it down, pick it back up, and check it again. I know you've lived this. It's 11:47 at night. You're lying in bed, and your phone lights up, and your whole body jumps before your mind even catches up. And it's him. After 5 days of silence, it's him saying, "Wid," and here's the part that breaks my heart every single time. You're not angry. You're relieved. Your fingers are already typing before your dignity can even get a word in. Because for 5 days, you have been starving for one crumb of proof that you cross his mind at all. Sister, that ache has a name. That ache is called being forgettable to a man you cannot forget. And I need you to hear me when I say this. It is not because you are forgettable. It is because nobody ever handed you the keys to the room in his mind where a woman lives permanently. Tonight, I am handing you those keys. Let me break down what's really happening inside his mind, because this is the part they don't teach you. Not your mama, not your girlfriends, not the movies, not the love songs. A man does not bond the way a woman bonds. You bond through connection, through conversation, through being known. He bonds through one thing and one thing only, and it is the most guarded secret of the male heart. A man bonds through feeling like he matters to the woman he wants. Not through her needing him for his money. Not through her needing him for protection. Through her seeing something in him that he is terrified nobody will ever see. Every man you have ever met is walking around with a quiet secret question burning a hole in his chest. And that question is not, am I rich enough? It is not, am I handsome enough? The question is, does anybody believe in the man I'm trying to become? His father probably never answered that question for him. His boss sure doesn't. His friends are competing with him. The whole world grades him on what he produces. And then you come along and you grade him on what he provides. And baby, you just became one more report card in a life full of report cards. Now hear me on this. I am not blaming you. You were never told. You were told to look good, to be sweet, to keep him happy, to not be too much. Nobody sat you down and said, sister, the way into a man's permanent memory is not through his eyes or his stomach. It is through the locked door in his chest, where he keeps the boy he used to be and the man he's praying he becomes. And there are 3 words that open that door. 3 words that, once spoken with sincerity, echo in a man for years. I have watched grown men, hard men, men with beards and bank accounts and brick wall faces go soft in the eyes, repeating 3 words a woman said to them 15 years ago. 15 years, ladies. 1 sentence. Still echoing. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? You've seen it. You've seen a woman who was not the prettiest woman in the room, not the youngest, not the one with the most going on paper. And yet some man orbited her like she was the sun itself. And everybody whispered, what does he see in her? I will tell you what he sees in her. He sees the one place on earth where he feels like a king without having to conquer anything first. That woman, whether she knew it or not, was speaking the 3 words. Now, I can feel some of you getting impatient. Just tell me the words. I will. But I promised you transformation, not trivia. If I hand you a sentence without rebuilding the ground underneath it, you'll say it once. It will fall flat because you don't believe it yet. And you'll decide it doesn't work. It works. It has worked since the first woman ever looked at the first man and saw more in him than he saw in himself. So let me take you deeper, because once you understand the machinery, you will never again waste your magic on a man who hasn't earned it. And you will never again be silent with a man who has. Let me tell you about a woman I know. Let's call her Maya. Maya was 36, beautiful, successful, the kind of woman who walks into a room and the temperature changes. And Maya came to me confused because she had been dating a man named Andre for 8 months and she could feel him drifting, not cheating, not lying, just drifting the way a boat drifts when nobody has dropped an anchor. She said, I don't understand it. I cook for this man. I look good for this man. I support him. I don't nag. I don't pressure him. What else is there? And I asked Maya one question. I said, when Andre talks about the thing he's building, that business he's been grinding on for 2 years, what do you say? And she got quiet. She said, I tell him that's nice. I tell him I hope it works out. I said, baby, you just told me everything. I hope it works out is what you say about the weather. I hope it works out is what you say about a casserole. That man is out there every day fighting a war nobody claps for. And the woman he loves is grading his dream like a side dish. Maya's eyes filled up because she knew. She had never once, not one time in 8 months, told that man she believed in him. Not because she didn't, because nobody told her that's the language men keep forever. Hold on to Maya. We're coming back to her. Because what she did next, with exactly 3 words, changed everything. And I want you to see it happen in real time. But first, let's go deeper into the machinery, because I want you to understand this so well that you could teach it to your daughter, your niece, your best friend who's crying on your couch right now. Here is the first truth, and I need you to write this one on your heart. A man does not fall in love with what you do for him. He falls in love with who he gets to be around you. Read that again in your spirit. Every woman is out here competing on doing, cooking more, giving more, tolerating more, texting more. And the women who win, the women who get thought about nonstop, are competing on something entirely different. They are curating the version of himself that a man experiences in their presence. When a man is around a woman who makes him feel 10 feet tall, he does not become addicted to her. He becomes addicted to himself around her. And since he can only get that feeling near her, guess where he keeps coming back? Guess whose face shows up uninvited in his mind during meetings, during traffic, during his cousin's barbecue? You see it now, don't you? This is why the prettiest woman gets left and the plain woman gets worshipped. This is why he chased you for 3 months and went cold after you gave him everything. This is why we had such a great connection turned into he just stopped calling. Because connection is not the glue. Connection is the doorway. The glue is significance. The glue is a man feeling in his marrow that in your eyes, he is already the man he hopes to God he becomes. And there is one sentence, 3 words, that delivers that feeling more directly than anything else in the English language. Now here's where most women mess up before they even start. They hear make him feel significant and they translate it into worship. They start complimenting his shoes, his arms, his car, baby. No. Compliments about what a man has bounced off him like ping pong balls. He has heard nice truck 1,000 times. It costs nothing to say, and it means nothing to hear. What a man has never heard, what stops his heart mid-beat, is a woman speaking to his character and his future. Not you look good, not you're so smart. Something deeper, something that tells him she sees the blueprint, not just the building. Let me tell you about the male ego. Because everybody uses that word and almost nobody understands it. The male ego is not arrogance. Arrogance is the costume. The ego is the engine. A man's ego is the furnace that every single ambition he has ever had gets burned in. It is why he works the overtime. It is why he flinches when you correct him in public. It is why he cannot let himself fail in front of a woman he respects. And here is the secret that the women who get worshipped all know, whether by instinct or by accident. That furnace runs on one fuel, not sex, not admiration, not obedience. It runs on being believed in by a woman whose opinion he actually values. When that fuel is present, a man will move furniture with his bare hands. He will build businesses, fix his credit, apologize to his mama, learn to communicate, become somebody he barely recognizes, and he will credit her for all of it while insisting he did it himself. When that fuel is absent, the same man becomes a stranger on your couch, remote in hand, soul in neutral. You can cook for him, cry for him, pray for him, and he will sit there like a radio between stations. Because the woman in his house is speaking a language that does not reach the furnace. So now the question becomes, what is the fuel made of? What exact words pour gasoline on that fire? Sister, we are getting there. And I promise you, when I give you the 3 words, part of you is going to say, that's it? That's too simple. And I need you to fight that thought because the most powerful truths on this earth are always simple. I forgive you is simple. I do is simple. The words that change a life are never long. They are just true and they are aimed at exactly the right spot. Before I say them, I want to show you what happens inside a man when he hears them because the psychology is everything. When a woman a man desires looks at him and speaks belief over him, 3 things happen in his mind in this exact order. First, disbelief. He has been graded his whole life. He is braced for the fine print, the but, the catch. So the first thing he does is scan your face for the joke. This lasts about 2 seconds. Second, exposure. This is the moment that changes men forever. Something cracks open in him because nobody, not his boys, not his boss, maybe not even his mama, has ever said it to him as a grown man with grown stakes. He feels seen in a place he keeps locked. And a man will never forget the person who saw him in the locked room. Never. Not at 30, not at 60, not on his deathbed. Third, imprinting. This is the part that answers your title. The part that makes him think about you nonstop. Once a man associates a woman with the feeling of being believed in, his brain starts tagging her as the source. Every time he faces something hard, and men face something hard every single day, his mind reaches for the fuel. And the fuel has your face on it. Your voice becomes the voice in his head. Not because you nagged your way in, because you lit his way in. He cannot think about his goals without thinking about you, because you stitched yourself into the moment he first believed they were possible. That is not manipulation, sister. That is not a trick. That is simply what happens when a human being meets the person who makes them feel possible. Men just feel it more violently than we do because they get it so rarely and because they are trained from boyhood to never admit they need it. Now, here is the warning, and I need you to hear this part with both ears, because it will save you from wasting your magic. These 3 words only work when they are true, and they only land on a man who has shown you something worth believing in. If you say them to a man who has given you nothing but potential and excuses, you are not inspiring him. You are anointing a stranger. You are handing the crown to a man who hasn't built a kingdom. And baby, he will wear it to the next woman's house. The 3 words are not medicine for a sick relationship. They are coronation for a man who is already in motion. Do not confuse the two. A man in motion deserves your belief. A man in excuses deserves your silence and your standards. How do you tell the difference? Watch his Tuesdays. Not his words, not his promises, his Tuesdays. A man in motion does something small toward his future on ordinary days. He makes the call. He sends the email. He saves the $50. He takes the class. It does not have to be big. It has to be real. A man in excuses talks about his future the way other men talk about heaven. Sounds beautiful. No one's seen it. No movement required. You speak belief over the first man, you will watch him turn into a giant with your name carved in the foundation. You speak belief over the second man, you will become his audience, and audiences get replaced the moment the show gets old. All right. You have waited long enough, and you have earned it. Sit up straight. The 3 magic words are, I believe in you. Now, don't you dare exhale and say, that's it. I watched you just now. Some of you felt your eyes sting, and you don't even know why. I'll tell you why. Because some part of you remembered what it would have felt like if someone had said it to you at the exact moment you needed it most. That sting you just felt, that is the size of the hole these words are filled. And men carry that same hole, bigger and deeper, and nobody is out here filling it. I believe in you. 4 little syllables. But sister, each word is a key turning in, not different, lock. And I'm going to take them apart one at a time because the way you say them matters as much as the words themselves. Start with I. That word is doing more work than you know. When you say, I believe in you, you are not reporting that somebody somewhere thinks he's all right. You are staking your own name on him. You are a woman he respects, a woman whose judgment he trusts, a woman he wants to impress. And you are stepping forward personally and saying, my eyes have examined you, and my verdict is belief. Men are surrounded by vague goodwill their whole lives. Good luck, bro. Hope it works out. That's what's up. It is weather. It is wallpaper. But I believe from one specific woman, that is a signature on a contract. That is somebody with something to lose, putting it on the line. And because men understand risk better than they understand feelings, the personal stake is what makes it real to him. You didn't say you'll do great. You said, I believe. You put yourself in the sentence. That's why it lands like a hammer wrapped in velvet. Now, the second word, and this is the engine of the whole thing, believe. Not hope, not think, not wish, believe. Hope is passive. Hope sits on the porch and watches the sky. Belief is active. Belief has already seen the future and come back to report it. When you tell a man, I hope you get that promotion, you have politely informed him that the outcome is in doubt. When you tell a man, I believe you're going to get that promotion, you have told him the verdict is already in, and he just hasn't caught up to it yet. Men organize their entire lives around what they think is possible. And you, with one word, just expanded what is possible. You moved the horizon. And here is the delicious part, the part that makes him think about you nonstop. From that day forward, he is not working toward the goal anymore. He is working toward being right about the woman who was right about him. You have braided yourself into his ambition. Every step he takes toward the dream, he is walking toward your voice. Let me tell you about Rachel. Rachel was married to a man named Derek for 11 years, and she told me, with tears rolling down her face, we are roommates. We are polite roommates who share a mortgage. Derek was a good man, faithful, paid the bills. But somewhere around year 7, the light went out of him. He came home, ate dinner, watched television, went to bed, repeat for 4 years. Rachel tried everything. Date nights, lingerie, counseling books stacked on the nightstand he never opened. Nothing. Then one Saturday, Derek mentioned, almost embarrassed, that he'd been tinkering with an idea. A small side business, woodworking, custom tables, something he'd loved since he was 19 and buried under 20 years of being sensible. And Rachel, who had heard me talk about this very thing, did not say, that's nice, baby. She did not say, well, don't quit your day job, which is what was sitting on the tip of her tongue, because 11 years of roommate life makes a woman cynical. And I understand that. She stopped. She looked at him, really looked at him, and she said, Derek, I believe in you. I've watched you build everything you've ever touched. I believe in this because I believe in you. Rachel told me the man's face did something she had not seen in a decade. She said it was like watching a frozen lake crack open in the spring. He didn't say anything. He just stood there in the garage, holding a piece of sandpaper, looking at his wife, like she had just handed him back a part of himself he thought was dead and buried. 8 months later, Derek had sold 11 tables, posted his work online, and listen to this, lost 20 pounds, started calling his wife beautiful again, and planned their first vacation in 6 years. 11 years of roommate. One sentence, 8 months. Now, did the sentence build the business? No. Derek built the business. But the sentence built Derek. The sentence put fuel in a furnace that had been cold for 4 years, and everything else, the marriage, the energy, the affection, the vacations, was just the heat coming off it. You know what Rachel told me was the strangest part? She said, now he calls me from the lumber yard. He calls me from the truck. He sends me pictures of table legs, Steve. Table legs. And I told her, baby, that's not about the tables. You have become the voice in his head that says his future is real. He is not sharing table legs with you. He is sharing proof with the woman who believed first. That is what nonstop looks like in real life. Not obsession, not desperation. A man whose every forward step routes through you because you are the one who said go. Now the third part, in you. Two little words that most women get completely wrong, and getting them wrong is the difference between a compliment and a coronation. In you means the belief is not attached to the outcome. It is attached to the man. When you say, I believe you'll get the job, you have praised the job. When you say, I believe in you, you have crowned the man. And the job is just one of the places the crown will show. This matters more than anything else I'm going to tell you tonight. So lean in. Men are terrified that they are only loved for their results. Every successful man on earth secretly suspects that if the money stopped, the love would stop. Every struggling man secretly believes he has to produce before he deserves tenderness. In you detonates both of those fears at once. It says, my belief is not riding on your next win. It is rooted in who you are when nobody's clapping. It says, if the business fails, I still believe. If the deal falls through, I still believe. Because I never believed in the deal. I believed in you. Do you understand what that does to a man who has been conditionally approved of his entire life? His father approved of touchdowns. His boss approves of quarters. His ex approved of his paycheck. And then you come along and approve of him. His essence, his engine, the man under the results. Baby, that man will remember the sound of your voice when he is an old man sitting on a porch. He will forget entire girlfriends. He will never forget it, the woman who believed in him with no scoreboard attached. Now I know what some of you are thinking because I can hear you through the screen. Steve, I said something like that once and he barely reacted. Sister, let me tell you about timing. Because timing is the difference between water on a sponge and water on a raincoat. The three words land hardest in three specific moments, and if you spray them randomly, you dilute their power. The first moment is when he is about to attempt something and the doubt is visible. The night before the interview, the week before the launch, the morning he has to have the hard conversation with his boss. In that moment, his furnace is burning doubt, and your three words are not just fuel, they are oxygen. Say them then, and he will carry your voice into the room like armor. I have had men tell me, I was sitting in the parking lot before the biggest meeting of my life, and I heard my woman's voice saying she believed in me, and I straightened my jacket and walked in like I owned the building. That is not poetry. That is the actual mechanics of the male heart. The second moment is after a failure. This is the one nobody teaches, and it is the most powerful of all. Anybody can cheer a winner. Cheering a winner costs nothing, and he barely hears it because the whole world is cheering. But when he has just been knocked flat, when the deal died, when they picked the other guy, when he is sitting in the car in the driveway for 20 minutes because he doesn't want you to see his face. That is when I believe in you becomes immortal. Because in that moment, the words are not obvious. In that moment, the evidence disagrees with you. And when a woman looks at a man at his lowest and speaks belief against all the evidence, she has done something almost holy. She has told him his worst day did not change her mind about his best self. Men do not cry easily, but that is the sentence that breaks them open. And I promise you, he will think about that moment and that woman nonstop for the rest of his natural life. The third moment, and this one is for the woman who wants to be unforgettable. The quiet moment. No stakes, no interview, no failure, just an ordinary Tuesday, him doing something small, him talking about some little plan, and you, out of nowhere with no reason at all,